What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news each and every day. I'm Drew Bosley, that's Scott Savage, and you can join us at InsideTheGame.ca, our YouTube channel, Inside the Game Official, our FAST channel over at Rad TV, our television streaming platforms around the globe. Man, oh man, there's so many things. Amazon Prime, Jinx Esports TV, ESTV, Roku. Just catch us somewhere. But maybe you don't want the video side, you want the audio side. Well, we got you covered there too, of course. Over at Fired Up Network, you can get across us over 212 platforms. Scott, believe it or not, you can't miss us, man, at this point. Yo,
we are just about everywhere.
I would think so, right? Yeah, absolutely. So if you can't find us, I don't know what you're doing. Dude, what are we talking about on today's show?
Today we have the recap of the Nintendo Indie Showcase that happened yesterday. Hogwarts Legacy is on the Switch, and we're going to talk about that. And Digital Bros has announced layoffs. The layoffs continue.
Yes, they certainly do. Scott, what have you been playing lately, man?
Oh, I actually had a chance to play some of the Zombies mode in Modern Warfare 3 yesterday. I got to play with my sister and her boyfriend. They're both pretty good. I didn't have to carry the weight.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I jumped back in the world of Starfield, as I mentioned there just the other day. And I was just, man, it's one of those, I'm back in, but I'm kind of not back in. Like, I don't know. I'm having a hard time getting kind of hooked back in. It was hot at the moment, but now that the moment's passed and we played so many other things, I'm like, trying to jump back in is a little bit harder than I anticipated, but maybe one day we'll get there. We'll see. But I'd like to wrap up that story. I wasn't quite done the story, right? 80 hours in, I did a bunch of side stuff and faction quests and things like that, but I never finished the campaign. So I got to go wrap that up for Game of the Year discussion, which will be coming up soon. But Scott, let's talk about it. Nintendo Indie Showcase. Scott, Nintendo had a indie showcase yesterday, revealing 18 indie games coming to the Switch, and some of them just make me scratch my head as to why. Tom Ivan over at BGC. But I guess if you know my relationship with Nintendo, you probably understand where I'm coming from. Shantae's Risky Revolution from Way Forward is in 2024. Here's the note takeaway. Dude, a lot of these games are coming next year. Which,
yeah,
I get we're on the tail end of 2023, but here's the other side of it, right? Why are these games even coming to the 2024? Does that mean Switch 2? Is that what they're holding out for, right? That's the other thing I'm looking for. The Outer Wilds, the Archaeologist Edition from Mobius Digital and Annapurna Interactive on December 7th. So that one's just around the corner. That is coming out on the Game Awards Day, Scott. Just keep that on your mind.
Interesting.
On your tail from Memorable Games and Humble Games in 2024. Highland Song on December 5th. Backpack Hero is coming. It's actually out as of yesterday. Howl from Meepoo Me Games. Oh, okay. That's out as of yesterday as well. Blade Chimera from Team Ladybug is out in spring 2024. Death Trick, a Double Blind, is out as of yesterday. The star named EOS will be coming in 2024. Moonstone Island will be spring 2024. Core Keeper will be summer 2024. Planet of Lana, which I reviewed on the Xbox Series X already. You can check out that review, and let me tell you, that is an incredible game. But you can play it on the Switch next year in 2024. Enjoy the Dinner is out yesterday. The Gecko Guides, or Gods, sorry, are out next year in 2024. Pass Per Pot 2, The Lost Artist, is out yesterday. Braid Anniversary Edition, April 30th, 2024. That's a solid date right there for 2024. Dude, Braid, again, it's all... Where's
How
Braid
old is
2?
that title now?
Or where's the next Braid, I guess? It's old, man. This game is old, but it does stand the test of time. This is why they keep releasing it, right? Urban Myth Dissolution Center in 2024 and Heavenly Bodies in 2024. There's just a lot of games that are already out, Scott, that are now into 2024. And I'm like, why is it taking so long for these games to come over? They just suddenly make the deal with Nintendo. Where is this at? But I guess if you only have a Switch, you got some pretty cool games on the way. What did you think of the showcase?
Yeah, there are a lot of games here, and although they are a little bit aged, there's still, like you say, some of these they're timeless. They'll last on into the future quite a while. They'll age well. Shantae is one that I've seen a little bit of gameplay back from years ago, back in the Wii U days. So I think a lot of these games, although they are dated by a couple of years, they're not so out of the realm of what technologically is Nintendo. So it doesn't feel so far back behind, but that really is just a statement on Nintendo's hardware, isn't it?
It certainly is. I think we're starting to see the wear and tear on the Nintendo Switch, but I think we're all just kind of desperate for the Switch 2 and where that's going to head next. And man, I have so many questions on the Switch 2, and I wonder if Nintendo's worried. Can they hit that fire again with the Switch 2 that they caught with the Switch 1? It's like the Wii to the Wii U, which tanked. Do you think we'll see that transition again, or are they going to come out and just crush it because the Wii U hit like horrible numbers? Switch 2, is it going to revolutionize what we play in right now as a standard, or are we just going to be outdated with a brand new console?
Yeah, my guess is that we will be outdated just a little bit because Nintendo will stick to what they know and what's kind of safe, and go with something similar to the Switch, but not as much of a step in a different direction. I'm really curious if we'll see this become if a dedicated console. If it's a dedicated console, then I'm really not sure what to expect, because it could just be a Wii U scenario. People don't like it and they just won't adopt it, and then those numbers won't move. And
right,
there's already 120 something million Switches out there, so
yeah,
there's going to be a relative drop off no matter how you look at that.
Well, it's easy to say that the Switch dominated, right? The handheld market is owned by Nintendo, hands down. The Switch did incredibly well. It still sells to this day. And when you take a look at some of these games that are coming, Heavenly Bodies, dude, how old is that game? Braid, how old is that game? And here we are getting older games. Like, man, so many people have already played these. Planet of Lana, I adored, but I'm not going to pick it up for the Switch. I already played it. And that's my biggest fear, is when you start to get some of these games that we've already played on other platforms, is that enough to get next year? Is that enough to bring over the hype for the Switch in 2024 or the Switch 2? If the Switch 2 launches and there's nothing there, then yeah, that's when you pick up some of these games, right? Oh, now I can play Planet of Lana if you haven't played it. I don't know if that's enough for me personally. It's not.
I'm still wondering. I'm still wondering if this will include some sort of information transfer to the next Switch.
Yeah.
So if you're going to get all of these, and if we're getting all of these into 2024, that doesn't sound like it's coming alongside a new Switch.
No.
Unless we're bringing that information, that data forward in a way that, you know, carries my profile across. They've done that across several different handhelds now, but I'm not sure how it'll work because I've only gone from 360 or 3DS, I mean, to the Switch.
But when you look at our current generation now, right, we are carrying things forward. Look at the Xbox Series X or the Xbox One. That transition, we're able to pull everything with us. And we're starting to see a little bit of that with the PlayStation side too, where you can carry over some of these things, right? It's starting to get more in the way of Steam, where your library just builds and you take it forward, right? And I wonder if Nintendo is looking at that, or doing what Nintendo does and just wants to sell you another Mario game that you played 10 times and bought 10 times, but you can buy it again.
Yeah, I wonder how long until we have Mario Kart 8 on the Switch too.
Well, right, and we were talking, I think it was Finny McGee over on our Discord channel, and he's talking about how he's playing the latest DLC. I'm like, that's great, but where's the new Mario Kart game? Are they waiting for the next one? They only put out one per console generation, so that's why we get all the DLC, but is that going to get bumped up to the next one, right?
Well, it could have bridged the gap with a Diddy Kong Racing or something similar, but that's far too sensical for Nintendo.
Well, yeah, Nintendo is definitely an interesting company to follow, but clearly what their strategy has done in the past has worked really well.
It has.
Scott, topic number 2 continues on with the Switch, as it could have been worse. Here's how Hogwarts Legacy Switch compares to the PS5. This is Andy Robinson over at VGC. The Nintendo Switch version of one of the year's best-selling games, Hogwarts Legacy, has finally been released. If you noticed, it also got snubbed at the entire Game Awards ceremony.
Yeah, not even mentioned.
Nothing. It hurts, man. That one hurts. But with minimal marketing for the Switch port from publisher Warner Brothers, today, the first time we're able to see how developer Avalanche Software was able to squeeze the sprawling open world game onto the portable hardware. One YouTube channel, Switch Up, posted its impressions on the Switch port on Tuesday, stating that the game, quote, could have been far worse, end quote, and that on handheld in particular, the game is running reasonably well. According to the YouTube channel, the Switch version introduces 30 to 50 second load times to its open world in order to get it running. Dude, I hear.
Ouch.
Okay, I'm gonna finish this article and then I just find this interesting. The channel notes that, quote, none of these things are deal breakers for most people, but as far as gameplay goes, having to load between every single shop in a town that has about 10 to 15 buildings, it certainly does impact the flow, end quote. Hogwarts Legacy was comfortably Europe's best-selling game in the first half of 2023, selling over 12 million copies in the first 2 weeks, following its PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC release on February 10th. Here's the thing, this is reported by Andy Robinson over at VGC. If you noticed, dude, they had to take feedback from somebody else's channel because they didn't even bother with the game.
No, yeah, they did not.
Right? And I'm not calling that
interested into that point.
Yeah, I just find it interesting that they didn't even take a chance at this port because, as we talked about it, the Switch is getting long in the tooth, and how well does it run? It's nice to see that Avalanche, though, is able to support one of the best games of this year over to the Switch, right? Like, that's a testament to the studio of what they're able to do. Now, granted, dude, when you're in Hogsmeade and you're going into building to building, it takes 30 to 50 seconds. Yo, man, those are days of yesteryear, right?
Yeah, that is painfully slow when you're getting into Hogsmeade there.
Oh, man.
I already have such a hard time moving around in... I don't remember if it was Hogsmeade specifically or the other town a little bit more south, but something got really annoying where I had no idea where I'm supposed to go. And I can only imagine that gets compounded much worse if you're stopping and waiting, forgetting what you're doing every 30 seconds.
Well, just Hogwarts is huge. The area surrounding the game, the map itself, is completely massive. Like, it is a big map. And when you're flying from one side to the other, like, I'm curious how well that looks, how well that runs. But for the most part, it sounds like it actually works. Where if you compare that to how Mortal Kombat 1 launched, yo, that was bad, right? So again, here we are. Nintendo needs to step it up. You can't play what we consider now to be a standard on PS5 and Xbox Series X and S, and then expect the studios to bring that same quality to your own platform. They have to dumb down their own game. That's not satisfying, not only for the studio, but for the players themselves. If you have a Switch, and that's your only platform, then at least you get to play the game. But if you have a Switch as like your third-party platform, and you do have a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X and S, you want to play all the major games over there first and don't even bother on the Switch, right? Like, dude, I didn't even consider Mortal Kombat 1 for the Switch. Not a chance would I want to play that there. Nor do I want to play Hogwarts because I know how well it looks and how beautiful it is over on my PS5. Dude, it's incredible.
Yeah, there's absolutely a better place to play these games, which is unfortunate because Hogwarts was such a great hit, and we both enjoyed that. And I hope everybody who's been waiting on it to come to Switch gets a chance to play it and has fun, because this is, if that is your only way. But it's just unfortunate because eventually we're going to see these games get left in the past. Everybody on Switch is going to get stuck in a console generation past.
Well, the thing is, this is where I get worried now going into Switch 2, right? And I know we talked about it in the first segment there, but how underpowered is the Switch 2 going to launch? Will it be able to run a PS5 version of Hogwarts Legacy? Probably not, right? And that's how I feel about Nintendo going forward, is that they're always a console or two behind. And it's just unfortunate. I get they're at a different point when it comes to the gaming market compared to PlayStation and Xbox. But dude, if they could match that quality, seriously, how many people do you think would actually turn that into their main console instead of their secondary or third console? Right? That's the other side
absolutely.
of it. Like, they're losing out, but yet they're making, well, clearly they're doing just fine. But on the other side of it, I kind of, as a fan of gaming in general, I like to be where the most power is. Now, granted, I could be stating that and going, well, that's my PC. I'm just not a PC gamer at the end of the day. I'd rather sit on my couch, right? That's kind of, it's a comfort thing at the end of the day. but I do play some incredible PC games as well. When it comes to the Switch, though, man, that could be the one and only device you really need if they were able to step it up to the quality that we are matched with PlayStation and Xbox. Granted, you're not going to play God of War, Spider-Man there, or Fable, right? When it comes to there, or Forza Horizon, there's so many games that are going to be console specific. But if Nintendo could step it up, dude, it makes it easier on the developers on the other side too. And that way they don't feel like they are losing. Because how often are we getting games first? PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, Switch later. Or the other side of it is, yeah, we decided not to just put it on Switch anymore at all.
Yeah, well, it's unfortunate because we're seeing conversations about Game of the Year now, and Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is on there.
Sure.
But how many awards would it be taking home if it were brought up to what we'll say an Xbox Series S level?
It would win for sure. I don't think it wins this year at all. And then, dude, even Super Mario Brothers Wonder is in there. Like, I'm just baffled by this year's nominees. But either way, there's not a whole lot of technology that I think Mario could benefit from, but he does look still in the past. Well, that's the other side of it, right? When you are playing Tears of the Kingdom, I remember being at a castle, dude. It is just a solid like corner. It's a castle. This is a castle, and it's just like a straight hard edge, and the texture is painted on. I'm like, man, that doesn't even look real. Like, it doesn't. Not that it looks real, but it doesn't look textured, I guess I would say, right? You don't see the indents. Where you go to Hogwarts over on the PlayStation, yo, man, like you can almost put your hand on the texture of Hogwarts Castle. You know what I mean? Like, it's got that level of detail and things that you're just not going to get here, obviously, when it comes to the Switch. It's just an underpowered unit at the end of the day. And when Switch 2 comes out, I'm fearful it's going to be the same thing. And we're going to be talking about it in a couple of years about how they're outdated again. But when they launch, they're already outdated. I don't know, man. I'm definitely curious everybody else's thoughts too. Hit me up on Twitter. Hit us up on Twitter at the official ITG. Me, Artistic Gamer 28. And Scott Savage. Let us know. Are you concerned for the Switch 2? And have you played Hogwarts Legacy on the Switch? Scott, has a crappy year for developers. It seems to continue as 505 Games parent company lays off 30% of its workforce. This is granted hit a little bit differently, but still, man, more layoffs once again, right? Man, will it ever end this year? Maybe in 2024 we can have a better year? Fingers crossed.
You can really hope for.
Absolutely. Andy Chalk over PC Gamer. The video game industry continues to be plagued with layoffs as 505 Games parent company Digital Bros has announced plans to eliminate roughly 30% of its total workforce. The company said the cuts are necessary because, simply put, gamers prefer sequels and remakes to brand new games. And so that's what we're going to focus on. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Really? This is where we're at?
Sounds like somebody at EA said that.
Well, yeah, it's funny because I was just thinking that. Yeah, you remember when EA stated nobody likes single player games anymore? Surprise.
And immediately ate, what do we call that the other day? Humble pie.
Man, oh man. Quote, the video game market has evolved since the pandemic to be more selective in terms of new games, with the consumers increasingly reverting to well-established intellectual properties and playing these same games for longer periods, end quote. The company said, quote, Digital Bros' strategy has had to adapt to this new and evolving competitive scenario and will focus its efforts moving forward on the release of sequels and new versions of previously successful and established games within a limited number of new, larger budget productions. In order to prioritize high quality and long-standing successful titles, Digital Bros has reconsidered the number of projects under development and as such will review the organization structure accordingly to align with the evolving competitive environment in the medium to long term to ensure maximum operational efficiency, end quote. If that isn't a PR statement. Wow.
Yeah, almost paint by the numbers, that one.
Pretty well, right? Digital Bros isn't a particularly well-known name in the video game world, but it owns a number of studios you may be familiar with. 505 Games is the biggest name of the bunch, but it also has DR Studios. Here, let me just do this. These studios you probably don't even know either, but you do know some of the games that 505 has represented. Control, Death Stranding, Ghost Runner, and the reborn Hawken, which we didn't particularly care for, apparently, over PC Gamer. So,
I have to echo that. It was cool, but it didn't stay with me.
Yeah, so there is that. However, it also goes on to, so it's not insignificant presence in the business, but it doesn't have a tentpole game series that they can reliably sequelize, and that's apparently a problem. That's the understatement to an extent. Well, when they put out a game called Crime Boss Rocket City, which was a horrible game, what are you thinking, right? But Journey to the Savage Planet is another one, which is actually a pretty cool game. Scott, they just haven't had that AAA success, right? Death Stranding, though, dude, when you represent Kojima, Death Stranding is a big deal.
Oh, absolutely. And I thought that sold pretty big numbers, but then I guess that's what they're seeing. They're seeing this, well, we can sequelize this instead of doing more risky business.
Which, granted, how are you going to come around to get that AAA level of success if you don't try to get something new into the market, right? You can go back and give us another Payday, because they did represent, they have shareholders in the company over Starbreeze. Payday 3, not a well-received game, especially over here. We didn't care for it, right? But if you can get Control 2 going, work with other games, but again, Remedy now is under the Epic brand, so who knows there. There's a lot of things to take into consideration. Business, never easy, but it just, man, more layoffs, right? Here we go again. But is sequelitis really the good way to go?
It doesn't sound like a sustainable business model, especially. And to cut 30% of your, in almost any scenario, I think 30% is a huge amount of people.
Yes.
It doesn't seem like this is a very calm and guided maneuver.
No, it doesn't seem like the right move. I don't know, right? We're obviously not on the inside over there. It is very hard to say. Maybe this is the right move, and that way they can keep the company's lights on and keep moving for everybody else. However, those who are affected, obviously our hearts go out to them. Hopefully they can find something quickly and get back on their feet. But that's the biggest thing. Dude, once again, right? That number of 6,000 developers laid off continues to grow. And not only is it just developers, but it's other people too when it comes to marketing and the other side that we don't normally talk about when it comes to games. When we talk about games, dude, it's all the people that are working on the games. Now, it's a little bit different in this case here by the sounds of things. However, it just sucks, man, to see this continue to go. But again, sequelitis, I don't know if that's necessarily the right way to go. You can't get a brand new IP out there that way. And it kind of has me a little bit concerned.
Absolutely.
Scott, we're a little bit more on pace today, dude. There's a ton of games coming. What are we playing?
That's right. We have Colossal Cave now on PlayStation 4, 5, and the PSVR 2. The Last Faith comes to PC, Mac, PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox One, XS, and the Switch. Lily in Puzzle World comes to PC, PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox One, X, and the Switch. Teardown is on PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X today. American Arcadia is on PC, and console release will happen later on down the road. Nahelbook Dungeon Master is on PC. Hades Star Dark Nebula is now on Xbox. Skybreakers is available on PC, and that is all of the releases today.
Nice. And that'll wrap up today's show, everybody. Thank you for hanging out with us. This has been ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news each and every day. I'm Drew, that's Scott.
And we'll see you inside the game.